Welcome to the Strong Youth Podcast. My name is Ellis. I am your host. Today, I got to sit down with Jared McGregor and explore his journey from being a walk-on athlete to a nonprofit founder. We got to chat about how fostering relationships in sports helps us to find joy regardless of the outcome of the game. He also shared his advice for his high school self and for high school athletes now and how they can find joy in the game. Well, Jared, welcome on. Thank you for joining us on the Strong Youth Podcast. Before we jump into talking a little bit more about your foundation, tell us a little bit about where you're at now, how you got to playing basketball for BYU.
So I took a little bit of a unconventional route, I guess you could say. I'll save the long story, but I started out as a team manager for BYU under Coach Pope for the 2021-22 team. Had a great time, loved it, and my dream has always been to be on the court, to play at the school that I grew up loving and that my parents went to. My dad swam here, my siblings all went here, so it's like BYU has always had a special place in my heart. And so again, to save the long story, it's been a dream to be able to make the team and to be on, especially this special team that we have this year. So it's been a dream the last 4 years.
That's awesome. So you said that your dad swam for BYU. When did basketball come into the picture for you growing up?
To tell you the truth, I've never been a swimmer. My sister swam all through high school and growing up. Some of my brothers swam for a little bit. I don't know. That's ever since the little plastic hoop that we had in our house, I just fell in love with shooting on that thing, and my brothers teaching me and help coaching me, and basketball has always been my thing. And so, yeah, my dad kind of had the swimming for the family.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about your experience playing basketball in high school, how that shaped your goals for the future.
For sure. So that's one thing I've been really blessed, playing on really, really good teams with really, really good players and coaches. In high school, I played at Westlake, I was on the varsity team all 4 years, played JV my first two, and then varsity my last two in high school, and had a great experience. High school basketball is the absolute best. And then my club team, I grew up playing for Marty Haas, who was a really good player here. His sons were phenomenal players here. And so grew up playing with players as well that played here, some of my best friends. And so I've always been pushed. I've always been pushed in my athletic ability. And, growing up, it's like if you want to play, you got to beat out the next guy, And so, so being a part of such great teams, brought me enough exposure and enough credibility that when Coach Pope kind of looked at my resume, he was like, all right, this guy can ball. So that was kind of the journey through high school and how I ended up here at BYU.
Yeah, that's awesome. You mentioned that you were a manager first. What did the work, what's your drive for getting on the team? What motivated you to keep working for that?
I mean, just little kid's dream. That's really what it was. And being a manager, I honestly saw it as an opportunity. From the get-go, I never was like, I'm in this to be on the basketball team. No, I was in it because I wanted to build relationships. My friends were on the team at the time. And so I just wanted to, come back from the mission. I just wanted to be around the game again. And so, the manager route was the way to do that. And BYU is such a respectable program. And so great opportunity for me to do that. The day-to-day stuff, that was a grind for sure.
Yeah.
That was back when Coach Pope had us doing two-a-days. And so right as I became a manager, it was straight into two-a-days where I'm waking up at 5:30 a.m. to go and rebound, to go and, pass and have a towel in my hip in case someone fell. I had to go wipe it up, fill in waters, things like that. We even made breakfast every day for the team. And so a lot of things that were not glamorous, but were really good experience for me personally, as well as just to build trust with the program as a whole to eventually get on the team.
Yeah. So as you were talking, what stood out to me was you're building relationships with these people, and that was your focus. And you're known as the glue guy of BYU basketball. What does this role mean to you?
I love it. And it's, again, I've kind of, my whole life, I've had two roles. I've been the star player. I've been the end of the bench guy. Mm-hmm. And so learning how to do both of those roles has been really valuable for me. And kind of bringing people together in between, people who aren't in the rotation, people who are the star players, and people, like me here at BYU who don't play a lot. So just doing what I can to build chemistry and to help my teammates, like that's what I've really fell in love with here at BYU.
Yeah. So one of the aims of the Strong Youth podcast is to improve the experience of youth sports for athletes. You had a great experience in high school. As a BYU Cougar, you said you've been the star player and you've been the last man off the bench. What has helped you the most to help, those people who aren't in the rotation or those people who are just barely cracking into it to build those relationships and make it a positive experience for them?
I just think that everyone has a valuable role, regardless what it is. And, Coach Pope and Coach Young, like they do a great job at recognizing that, it takes an entire team. It's not just, the 7 or 8 guys that are in the rotation. Our practices are competitive. And so, again, it's like there's so many stories of people being the lowest man on the totem pole, whatever you want to call it. And just being able to stay hungry and not get discouraged on, the different scenarios that are going on or the different, whatever you want to call it. But being able to be like, okay, I'm here right now. That's okay. I'm going to do what it takes to get, crack the rotation. And so, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. You can tell by just, your influence, even when you hit the court and the whole stadium like erupts. That is so fun to be a part of.
For sure.
You have a huge influence on that team. Yeah. And that has really leaked over into other parts of the game. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Name of the Game and how that came about?
Yeah. So Name of the Game is it's a charitable foundation, and it's targeted to kids under 18 who are struggling with loss in their family or who are suffering from cancer or illness. Those are a few things that are close to me because of my experiences growing up. And so being able to have a platform here at BYU to touch kids like that and trying to make a difference in their life is something that I've, found a passion for. And, it's been a remarkable journey to where it is now, and it started last year. So if you want, I can fill you in with the story.
Yeah, let's hear the story.
Okay, yeah. So last year, with the transition of the new coach and the new staff, it was a little hard for me to, find my place. With the last staff, with Coach Pope, I kind of knew what they expected, and I knew what to expect from them in terms of expectations, what they wanted from me. With the new staff, it was like starting over, essentially. Like I got to, build trust with these amazing coaches, this NBA caliber staff. And so I guess you could say it was a little bit of just trying to make a difference within, with things that are in my control. And having conversations with my mom about, man, like I'm having a hard time trying to figure all this stuff out. Like what do I do? And my mom's the best. She's so wise, and she tells me like, well, like you have a platform, like you can make a difference in people's lives, and exactly how that is, like, let's talk about it. And so thinking about my resources and people in my network, I was like, this is something I can do here at home and when we go on the road. And so I reached out to a few friends of mine, and they pitched in a little bit of money to buy blankets and some basketballs, and that's really where it started. And you know, it's grown even more to where it is now.
That's awesome. What does this mean? You know, you mentioned some of your experiences growing up. Would you be willing to share those experiences and how that affects you in this pursuit?
Yeah. So when I was 4, my dad passed away from colon cancer, and that, you know, I was pretty young. I probably didn't fully comprehend what was going on. I kind of, all I know is what I know. I grew up, and we became a team. I always say this, like, loss in your family can either tear you apart or it can bring you closer together. And, you know, from this trial, like, we became really tight, and we became a team. And my mom, she just kind of put the whole team on her back and raised us. And so really special. So that's kind of the tie of, you know, trying to find people who are going through similar experiences is what I've been through, because, you know, I can relate a little bit to a certain extent with people going through similar things.
Yeah. So looking at on the Name of the Game website, there's a little bit that I really liked when I was looking into it that says every delivery, every signed basketball, every care basket represents the heart of what basketball truly means, bringing people together. So it feels like your focus has always been bringing people together. And what support from your coaches has enabled that?
Mm-hmm. No, it's been great. And having coaches who are on the same page in terms of like that specifically, using basketball as a tool to unite people together. Like, we have the best fan base in the entire country, no question, partly because of what we have in the Marriott Center when we play at home. And, you know, another huge part is wherever we go on the road, we got fans there. And so when I initially told this idea to KY, he was all over it. And the support from the coaches and my teammates has been phenomenal. I actually last week I had him sign 17 balls for the rest of the season because I was going one at a time to him, and I just got tired of asking him. But my point in saying that is everyone in the program has been super supportive of, you know, what I'm trying to build and the cause. And so, you know, it's really been a group effort. I've kind of just been the delivery man.
Yeah.
So
what has that done for your team?
It's been great. I think that's part of my role as the glue guy. I wouldn't say it's like brought us like super close together, like we bond on Name of the Game, but I think that I'm doing my part to continue to bring a positive image and light to our team, especially with where we are, you know, ranked in the top 15, and you know, we're planning to make a big run. And so just doing what I can with the opportunities that we have, and really thanks to my coaches and teammates, and you know, all the way to the top to President Reese.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And for somebody that watches BYU basketball, it's really fun to watch a team that can work together. And that's been very apparent this season, to see, you know, the ball moves well, and the game, like it's beautiful watching it this season. So I get excited about it. So with this, tell me a story of one visit that especially impacted you over these 2 years.
Oh, there's been a lot. Let's see. That's a hard one. I had a really amazing visit last night, actually. I'll I'll talk about Dimitri. I've talked about him a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a few. He's been included in some of the articles that have been written about Name of the Game, but this was one of my first visits. That's probably why it remains really special to me. And being able to go up to Primary Children's where he was battling cancer and like just an absolute stud. I can't even remember how old he was / is. I think he's 16 or 17 or so. And being able to visit, he was just like so excited. Like he couldn't believe like what was happening. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, but I'm like, dude, I'm just little old Jared McGregor. Like I'm no one special. But that was one of the moments where I was like, it is special for these kids that are, fighting for their lives, literally. I get to lace them up every day and play a game that I love. And there's people in hospitals and in their homes that are fighting for their lives. And so Dimitri was a special one just because one of the first. And, actually a few months after our visit, his mom sent me a video of him talking and telling everyone that he was cancer-free and just expressing gratitude for everyone that helped him. And so Dimitri's got a special place in my heart. I'm going to go to dinner with them in a few weeks. So, that was one of the top moments for me.
That's awesome. Has this changed the way you've viewed basketball?
Yeah. Since being at BYU, my whole perspective on what basketball can do has changed, just because it's on such a bigger stage and the places we go, the teams we play, like there's a lot of attention on BYU right now. And so like kind of like what we were talking about earlier, just the ability to bring the community together, I think is special. And I mean, everywhere we go and, people I see in public, they're like, man, go Cougs. Like, you guys are doing great. Like, it's a real bond that fans, like, actually love. And, like, it brings happiness to people, seeing us play and seeing us win. And so, yeah, I think that it's just an amazing tool to bring the community both locally and throughout the country together.
Yeah. How do you go about finding people when you're on the road to go and visit?
Yeah, good question. So luckily the church is set up really well for me to capitalize on how to find these people. There's church leaders in every single area throughout the world, frankly. But in the places we go, I reach out to bishops and stake presidents and kind of tell them a little bit who I'm looking for and who could use something like this the most as a pick-me-up. And they're always so good to work with. And, they help me out a lot. So it's a team effort.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I want to shift a little bit to youth sports. There's been some research done recently to make sports a positive experience for youth because we've seen a trend coming where youth aren't enjoying sports anymore. It's too competitive or there's too much pressure to play collegiate sports, to play professionally. There's 4 aspects that make, youth sports a positive experience, and that's fun, skill development, belonging, and effective communication. So how has creating and participating in Name of the Game helped you to fulfill some of these positive aspects?
So, like, all those things go hand in hand with Name of the Game and what I'm trying to do. And particularly in sports, like, obviously you're not going to have fun if you're not pushing yourself, if you're not working on your skills, if you're not socially having a good time, if you're not around good people, you're not going to have fun. And so it's like all 4 of those things are very complementary to each other. And if one is absent, then again, the first one you said was fun, right? You're not going to have fun. And so, that's what I'd say.
So over these past 2 seasons with creating Name of the Game, even having a coaching staff switch over, what advice would you tell your high school self?
I think what I would tell my high school self, looking back, is maximize your opportunities. And that is something when I'm done at BYU, I want to have no regrets on taking an opportunity. I think that is like the worst thing. I'm in such a cool spot where I just want to take advantage of everything that comes my way. And this platform that I have being on the team, it's like, what can I do to use it for good? And so looking back in high school, this isn't to say like I didn't do this, but I would just tell myself to try to make an impact in someone's life every single day. And I think that regardless of who you are, like people look up to you for one reason or another. And so being able to, find people that you can have an impact on, it sounds cliche, but like talking to someone at lunch, talking to people in class, like engage with people that, that you can make a difference in their lives.
How can parents and coaches help to foster this community of belonging and connection rather than just winning?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I would say, again, it's, I don't know, there's a common thread. Like be engaged with the people you're around, have experiences with them, go out to eat with your teammates, build relationships with your coaches, talk to them. I think that's a big one. I think sometimes, and this is for players and for coaches, like coaches be approachable, and invite people to talk to you, because every kid has a dream to play in front of their friends in high school, and they want to know what they have to do to make that possible. And so communication is a huge one, both with your coaches and with your peers, because sometimes I think the coach can be so focused on winning that he forgets about his players' well-being, if that makes sense. And so and that's one thing I've learned, like I played for some elite coaches, and they're always really good at being aware of their players' needs and like their desires. And so I think, going down to high school, to middle school, to elementary school, just being able to communicate effectively, about what you want out of basketball or whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah. You mentioned a little bit of your mom's influence on starting Name of the Game. Can you tell me a little bit more about her and her influence on you, growing up, the positive influence she had?
I mean, she's the leader of our crew. She has been, I can probably count on one hand the amount of games that she's missed. I'm not kidding. Like, she has been to almost every one of my games, all throughout my college career too. Again, I don't play in these games, but she loves going to support me and support what I'm doing, support BYU obviously. And so she's my number one supporter, and she did such a great job raising me, and who I am today is a huge credit to her and the way that she's raised me.
So two parents with kids that are, in a similar situation, what helped you the most in high school?
I think what helped me the most, and something that my mom did a great job doing, is teaching us perspective, teaching us the gospel, the plan of happiness. Like, there's a much, much bigger picture than what's going on just in our day-to-day lives, and teaching us how to live our day-to-day lives based on that perspective. And when you're in it for the long run, there is so much joy to be had, and there's so much fulfillment that can come just by living with an eternal perspective. And so, that's what I would say.
That's awesome. You've used your position to redefine success. That's something, you read the articles about Name of the Game, about, these stories that come out of BYU basketball, and that's what they all say about you. What do you hope young athletes and coaches remember about why we play the game?
Something that's super important to answer your question is, again, finding success within your role, within your job, what you do. And at the end of the day, especially in high school, like if you're not enjoying that process, then something's wrong. Obviously, everyone wants to play. Everyone wants to play the full 32 minutes in high school, the full 40 in college. And so I think that part of it is on the individual to be able to identify good things that are happening in their life, good things that are happening along their journey. Again, we get so caught up in just winning and just I just want to play. Like, yeah, that's what you're there to do. That's why you love the sport, because you love to play. So coming from a guy who doesn't play here at BYU, like there's so much joy. And I think, again, it's all about perspective. Like you have to look for those joyful moments with your teammates on the court, with your teammates off the court. That's what real success is, like relationships you build and experiences you have. And so, like winning is amazing. I think, I'm going to contradict myself. I think like that's why we play. Like we play to win, especially, here in college, like we're playing to win. And, but being able to, have a broader perspective of just life in general. There's so much joy to be found in life.
Oh, that's awesome. And hey, I can echo the want to win. March Madness is coming up.
For sure.
I'm here for the Cougs.
Yeah. Let's go.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you for joining us today on the podcast. We hope that this will help some young athletes, and we appreciate you sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.